Hey everybody, I got super busy these days, which is good. Just came to see what's left of. I'm gonna cut some rosemary, I think. I came out here for some fresh air, and I have one, I guess, potential godson. I've been talking to him for a long time. And he wanted me to talk about Sanse initiations, and it's not something I just really like talk about because I'm not looking to initiate anybody, but when people need it or they come and eventually, and my health's back together again, which is you want your initiator to be healthy. And so I've known this person for a while and they're saving up. There's a little list of things you should have together before your voodoo initiation, like sets of white clothing and stuff like that. And just get to know what's paid for and not paid for, so, and how many people you need and stuff like that. So if you don't live in the same town, then you're gonna have to travel, and you need at least 2 initiators, and I'll get into that. And if they don't live in the same town, then that's cost, and then whatever your priest is going to be charging you for your initiation, that's up for debate. That could be anything. I've seen outrageous prices. I've seen people be like, it depends on your karma, which is completely dumb, but we're not going to talk about dumb stuff. But anyways, and charge people like $21,000, and then someone else will pay 7, which to me that's like that's like Dominican voodoo to like Ocha prices. So get to know generally what you should be, what's acceptable. There might be your travel costs involved, and your own personal items involved, and then there's of course things we need to buy for ceremony that you may or may not be asked to buy some of those things. And beyond that, just getting to know your priest and stuff like that. But as far as the actual ceremony for Sanse, it has to be at least a week long, because you should have at least 3 misas. A day of rest is good in between, or if not, you have 3 or 4 days of voodoo services. And that all has to be done within a week. And if there's any problems in between, or at the seance that comes up, then we need to take care of that first. And so therefore it's good that the person to be initiated has worked their white table, maybe knows a bit about their frame, or has developed a little bit their abilities, or at least the priest knows them a little bit, has read for them, knows their spirits a little bit, even though some of those things are kind of up for question until the day of initiation. It's not just like a complete blank slate. In other words, that you just don't know this person, you don't know anything. So therefore, it can be done within, it's reasonable to be done within 1 week. But say like I didn't know someone or whatever, it could maybe take 2 weeks, but the more people you have there to help you, then you can get it done in 1 week. It's reasonable. I need at least another voodoo sant. It doesn't have to be another sansista. I mean, that's good, and I have somebody, but because you need somebody to be for the priest a la plaza, which means that they manage any mounting, any possession, not only during the misa section, the seance, which it could be a polero, another espiritista could help manage that. But for voodoo, it has to be, you have to have a la plaza, someone who helps manage the possession. So if the priest gets possessed, who's going to manage that, right? So you need at least one person that at least has been trained. So I said you need at least one other voodoo priest. Technically, you don't. You need at least one person who's been at least trained to be a La Plaza, which sometimes is the person's spouse or whatnot. Maybe they're not initiated, but they are familiar with like the family voodoo and can manage those things. So at least one other person, because that has to be somebody who manages that. Not only that, for the seance portion in the beginning, it's beneficial to have several different mediums of several different faculties. Someone who sees, somebody who hears, somebody who mounts, somebody who's good at exorcism, somebody who does this, somebody does that, right? it's good to have several different ones. You're looking at the person's frame. You're also aligning it. So maybe you do know all your spirits, right? But they have to get in a certain order of protector, guide, your main spirits, because you're going to be, we do coronation of the dead, your main spirit guide. So that needs to be aligned and sorted out. So even if you do know, okay, I think this is my main guide, I think these are my main spirits, we have to do that. And then your ancestors and your spirit guides, they have the chance to say anything that they need or want to have done or needs to be done first, because the dead come before the higher mysteries in Santeria. Ikalobi Ocha, they say the dead come before the higher spirits. And it's the same thing here. We do the seance, we work with your spirit guides and your ancestors first. Could even be like 2 misas, but it's good even on the third one or the second or third one, you're gonna have your misa coronation, right? So part of it's taken up by like a little bit of like a party. You're gonna be attending your white table. So we have the white table set up. They go attend their table and spend time connected there. But basically, I'll go back and say, we need one priest who's at least a Vodou Sant. And in my case, I have someone who's going into Makaya societies and stuff like that. They are in Sanse. They're Polero. They're not in Ocha that I have to work with. But I could work with somebody else, say in a different Vodou. I could work with them. They can manage everything. That's fine. And hopefully they would be a good spiritualist, at least know how to work with the dead. You would hope if they're a good Hungan, but if not, then you would need at least some spiritualists, and mainly spiritualists for the ceremonies, because we're more mostly like we're based on the dead in Sanse mainly. So you'd need several mediums, if not me and somebody who's trained in Vodou, or somebody who can manage that possession that's been trained to do that. So therefore, you need at least like one other person, or you could say at least 1 to 2, or 1, 2, and then several mediums is what you will need. If there's any problems, like with the dead or whatever, we have to sort that out first. If your ancestors have a problem, whatever. So obviously there's going to be at least talking in divinations before you would meet somebody about some of those things, but you never know what might come up. I'll probably have an idea of who the person's loa is. But until that date, we can't say for sure what manifests during the crowning ritual, which we keep completely separate than the seance, than the dead. So we deal with all the dead stuff, the spiritualist stuff first. Yeah, Loa stuff can kind of creep over there, but it's the deads. We have like about a day of rest, and then we go into the Vodou. We have a Vodou table set up, which is a divisional table. There's a bunch of saints looking stuff on it. Drinks, flowers, stuff set up for the baths. And then we do services. So then we do a Vodou service. You can hire drummers, although it's not necessary. Adds to the cost. Depends on your location. But we will have music, singing, mounting. Hopefully the Loa comes and does the majority of the ceremony. It's possible to make somebody a priest without that, but hopefully that happens, because that's what's going to make stuff happen, is the spirits. Really. You'll receive certain things. So depending on your spiritual frame, at minimum, you will receive a cha-cha. So it's a maraca tied with a bell. And it's nice to also receive the cup as well. At the ceremony, you'll receive the cup. Then if you have a very strong, say more Congo, you have more Congo spiritual guides, there's a reason for you to receive a spiritual cauldron. We can make one at that time. We also have an Indio Cazuela. It's a clay pot for the Native American spirits. If you have a lot of Native spirits, a lot of watery spirits that fit that stream of energy, you will receive that. So I received an Indio pot when I was initiated, but I didn't receive a Congo pot at that time. I got scratched in Palo later, but Unless there's a reason you can't go into Palo later, or that's the way it needs to happen, then you would just wait. And if there's a reason that you would need that for that to be a representation for you, then you would get it. They say in Palo, some people are saying silly things about Palo, that Palo is not about the ancestors. It's partly true because of the way that the pots are made and the way the tradition got changed in the New World, kind of from what they actually did in Africa. However, if something's completely about the dead, you cannot bypass your own dead, so that's completely false. Like there's no way around your own ancestors, basically. So they need to be asked, um, and everything needs to be okay. Everything needs to be prepared. We have an idea of who your Loa is going to be. We have everything prepared for that to happen. However, we also have stuff to crown somebody if a different spirit comes. Maybe there's two top spirits we think, oh, it could be this, it could be that. For some reason, we don't necessarily crown Gedes, we don't necessarily crown Petros. Some houses do. It would be a lot harder path for somebody. A lot more suffering for somebody. There's reasons why we wouldn't want to put somebody so close to the dead because you're alive, things like that. So there's alternative Loas. We can crown somebody. We have everything there prepared for that to happen. Yeah, and you have your book. I will pass on certain lineage things like Veve we are 7 chiefs, our lineage. So you will receive those Veve. You receive main song that we used to call them, and this person I've taught to do some minor salutes that will be taught. And yeah, it's basically like an attunement. It has to be done in person. And then you are given kind of like we say the licencia, so you can have spirit contact or you can have spirituality, but for that to actually like manifest more, even if you do have like the blood, like I do have Dahomey blood, even if you do, then it just kind of helps actualize it, because I tend to believe it is something that you're born with. Yet, like they still had a system of like teachings, ceremonies, initiations, training, stuff like that. So it gives you sort of like the passport to be able to do more things, whether or not what you want to do with it in your life. A lot of people just want to have, you get the head pot as well, and that represents your guardian angel, which would be your like your Loa, but also we only have one main one for that. So that is actually where all the other your points for all your other Loas come through. I only have about 10 more minutes because I have to go soon. So also I'll say that during the 3 or 4 days that we are doing the services, first the priest will do services to call their Loa and to do work and stuff like that. And then the person getting initiated, we will do things to them, and then that part will happen. During those days, we will also go to natural places in nature. We will go to 7 different places. So say like the river, the cemetery. There's 7 main places for us to get those places of power, to place that with the person. But there may be additional places we go, depending on the person's frame. And you receive the 7 chief Loas, but you may receive an additional spirit point or 2 at that time, depending on your frame, depending on who your spirits are. So I don't see any questions. The person I made this video for said I briefly talked on it before, but then I started talking about Santeria and Aleguas and stuff. Yeah, you feel very refreshed. You feel very cleaned. Your life should start following into a different order. Sometimes that's not always easy, but it's worth it. Things that are meant to stay, etc., etc. In terms of responsibility, this person was asking me. I mean, you should be working on yourself. Sanse is a light tradition that's protective. It just depends on what your loas want of you. You have to keep the area clean. Nobody should be really touching it. Once a year, usually at New Year's, we will clean the whole temple. But I know, of course, you do it more often, or especially if you're using that space. And then on the anniversary of your crowning, kind of, we will light special candles, or maybe on their feast date of your spirit, you will, give them something nice. And you just get, a little bit maybe more spirit information during that time is possible. And that's really it. I can't really think of anything else. There's a lot going on. At the end, there's kind of like a party, like a celebration, and you're kind of presented to the temple, the community. There is one. And I like to make traditional foods, Caribbean foods for that time, to kind of soak in, everything. And that's really it. So I don't really know. Anybody has any other questions or anything about Sanse initiation um, and Vodou initiation? It's more spiritualist in terms of Sanse. Other lineage Vodou spirits can kind of come through for a person. I believe it's a good place to start for really any ATR, Espiritismo at least, spiritualism. You can start learning some things. You can start learning the songs. You can start learning some of the herbs. An energy practice of any kind is good to have. Prayer, a good prayer life, collecting prayers, a prayer for this, prayer for that you like in a book. These are all things you can start to do to get prepared. And I'll be making more content. I'm finally at a place where I can start doing that, and I have something I need to edit things I need to edit and put up soon. So if anybody has any questions about Sanse initiations, etc., I do go to the States quite often. I haven't in the last 2 years, but I'm looking at the next 2 years and stuff like that. So we'll see, and in that period of time, you should never rush to like go get initiated ever. In that period of time, other people might come along and when I plan to do my next initiation, maybe not, but it is also nice to have one other person being initiated with you, with the experience. And it's just more like a family thing, and like the spirits like to come and see their kids, stuff like that. So I will say that too. Anyways, yeah, just get to know generally what things cost, what's included. There's some tropical herbs that need to be flown in, depending on what location. And I usually buy 2 sets just in case one place messes up the one order. So there's different considerations like that. It just helps everything go much smoother, and the more people you have to help, say like cook or clean and whatnot, or have a space, then it's a lot easier and a lot less costly. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, you can email me, Sansista 7 Crossroads, SANCISTA, the number 7, the word crossroads, @gmail.com. I'm on Facebook, even though Facebook seems to be dying. I have an IG. I go on there sometimes. And I'm developing, someone developed an oracle. I'm working it with them, and we have some more stuff coming up. So some ideas for the new year, and I'll see you guys soon.